Welcome to the Sunday morning podcast for RomWills.com, and I'm your host, Rom Wills. Once again, this broadcast will be simulcast across all of my platforms. You never know until you try. Yeah, this is an interesting one. You know, a lot of times people have the potential within them to do great things or to do something that's going to bring them a level of success, a level of fulfillment. But sometimes, and it's amazing that many people never reach their potential. And it's not that they tried a particular field and they just didn't make it in it. It's a thing of they never tried in the beginning. They never realized. Like I got two stories for y'all. You know me, I'm gonna have some stories. The first one was when I first got involved in sales, and this was way back in the day. And I didn't realize I had such a talent for sales. In fact, I used to be against sales. And, it was just like, yeah, I'm not in it. I was more the intellectual type of dude. I thought I'd, just be working in government service. But once I had that first sales job where I had to actually sell stuff to people, I was actually good at it. And I've been very good at it. I mean, even to this day, if I decide I want to stop, with the books and the podcast and videos, I could probably get a high-end sales job. I'm that confident about my ability to sell things to people. But I would have never got there if I, didn't try to begin with. And then there was something else, not even dealing with sales, right? Just even making this podcast right now. Because once again, I have a story behind that, right? I remember it was a few years ago. And, I still had the books and everything. And it's ironic, even before that, I would see, a YouTube video or hear a podcast. And I'd be thinking to myself, oh, man, it'd be great if I could do that. I mean, ironically. And this is someone I've been interviewed on internet radio. I've been interviewed on mainstream radio. I've been on cable TV. I've been on panels. And I've even hosted seminars and stuff and workshops. But I don't know why it didn't click on me to really get involved in podcasts. I don't know why. It's a funny thing, right? But it's interesting what brought me to this point. I was actually doing an interview with a beautiful woman on, she was on an internet radio network, a certain one, right? And I was just on her show. I was just interviewing, and it's funny how I even got on her show because she's a Facebook friend of mine. And all I did was just comment on a thread. And she was like, hey, let's talk about this on my show. I was like, oh, okay. And I talked on it, and, I just said what, she asked questions. I answered them. I mean, it was just like, okay, I didn't think much of it. But then the owner of that particular internet radio network, what happened was she contacted me. She said, hey, so-and-so wants to talk to you. And I knew the dude anyway. So I was just like, yeah, sure. Right. And I talked with him and he said, Rom, I need you to do a show for me. And I was like, dude, I've never done a show. And I was saying all these no's. And to his credit, and, he has my loyalty to this day for this, he wouldn't let me off the phone until I agreed to do the show. I was like, but I've never done a show. I didn't have any training. Of course, at that moment, I wasn't thinking I've done like seminars and workshops and stuff. And, this was just applying the basic principles, asking questions, directing everything. So, I ended up doing it. And I got a lot of practice there because I got a lot of practice doing podcasts, interviewing people, and also that internet radio network started venturing into live videos. So I actually got a lot of training on Upstream. because it was an upstream network. So I actually got like editing pictures and all that and like it was basically self-taught. In fact, I actually did a training video, a rare training video where I show other people how to do it. It's actually on my YouTube channel, but it's a private video. I might release it one day. I don't know. But, it was just for other people in that network. So it was just like, wow. But then it was funny. Just from doing that, it was like, oh, let me start doing videos. Let me start doing podcasts. Because it was like, if I could do it for someone else, I could do it for me. But I didn't really get into all that y'all have tried. Now, because you're listening to this now that I have something being simulcast on right now 4 different platforms, I'm just like, wow. I didn't know. And see, that's the lesson in it all. Sometimes a lot of people have talent buried within them, but they don't know. They don't get out there. And, the best way, though, is just to be open to trying new things, to looking at new things. You never know. That's the thing. You never know until you do it. I mean, and even on day jobs I've had over the years, it'll be the first time I'm doing something is like, hey, wait a minute, I got a talent for this. Wow, I'm actually good at this. Wow. So you never know, because I see a lot of people and I talk with them. I see what's up and they just don't realize, like, you got a lot of people out there who could cook. A lot of people, but they sitting up there thinking, wow, how can I make some money? I'm like, you can cook. You got some people just naturally talented at things. So several things. And that's something I do. People who know me personally, who deal with me on a personal level, they'll know. I'll see that they're good at something. I'll say, hey man, you need to be doing this. Like I remember this young boy, right? Back when I was selling books. That dude had a deep ass voice, right? And at the time he was just drifting. He wasn't doing anything. He had dropped out of high school, all that stuff, right? I think he did drop out. Whatever the case, he wasn't doing anything. He was just sitting around, really. And it's funny, like when I had my book stand, he would always come and just stand there. And I would always give him something to do, because he would just stand there. And then I remember one day I was hosting a book signing. And a gentleman came in, was signing copies of his book. And he heard the young man speak. And he looked at the young man. He said, man, you should be on the radio. Right? I was like, what? He said it. He just said it for a few seconds. And the dude just said, oh, okay. Next thing you know, the next week, dude had found like a communication school to enroll in. And the last time I talked with him, now that's one dude, sometimes every now and then I just like put his name in a search engine, but he had kind of a common name, so it's hard to find him. But he had actually went to that communication school, graduated, and he was working at a major Washington, D.C. radio station last time I spoke with him. But he didn't know he could do that until he tried. And that's the lesson for today. Figure out, look in the mirror, figure out what you're good at. What you got naturally. And also listen to people. Sometimes somebody else can spot something in you before you can. But the key is you got to get out there and try. So anyway, that's just my message for today. Keep rising and transforming. Peace.